place there.
Yeah, and you know James Morgan is looking at his windshield, happy to see those trucks running like that because that's just going to pull him back up, and you might see him challenge here in a few minutes. But like we talked about earlier, it's all about momentum.
Yeah, for sure. These trucks are so momentum based that, I mean, if you have just a little slip up, or even we saw them get side by side like that, and that sucked the 43 of James Morgan right up to them. So now I mean, it's a three-car battle for the lead, basically.
And they're all running different lines here, especially in one and two. I noticed last time the 43 ran a whole lot higher line going into three and four, which pulled him up to the rear of the 27 going into one. And it looks like he's going to try to use that momentum now to try to get by. But the 27 is going to have that run on the high side coming in the trioval.
Yeah, he almost got clear, but not quite enough to move up in front of our former race leader Gabriel Ellison. But man, this is gonna be tight because these guys still have to make a pit stop. So I'm assuming that they're just burning their tires up now, and trying to use what they can before they come in and get four fresh ones.
Yeah, and that's giving Landon a chance to just pull away just a little bit again, and knowing they're running side by side, he's just saving a little bit more tire, just cruising out in front. But like we said, he's got he's got less fuel than these other two guys. So like I said, 45, 50 laps. So they're gonna have to come in within the next 12, 13 laps.
Yeah, absolutely. And we see the 43 of James Morgan making a move to the inside. I wonder if he was just sitting back there saving his tires, man, because he's all of a sudden taking off like a rocket ship.
Yeah, and you know this as well. It's not about how it's about your average lap time versus your fast and your slower. If you can just maintain an average lap time and let those guys fall back to you, then that's where you want to be. As it looks like Gabriel Ellison and Brad Wilson have come to pit road, so starting to see those drivers cycle down in the pit road.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, man, now that you see other people as the leader, as you see other people start to come in, I wouldn't push it too much longer. I mean, they've got to be close on fuel right now, but I wouldn't let them get out and run too many laps on them newer tires because, I mean, you're just losing time to them every lap you stay out.
Yeah, you want to come in within a lap or two, but right now he's still in a battle for the lead, and it looks like he's going to let Morgan come by, and he's going to come to pit road. Got to get it checked down to 45 mile an hour, which it looks like he was able to do. So the former leader is now on pit road, Landon Lacey. So he's making his stop now. Now we got to see what the rest of the field does. The 43 of James Morgan and Kevin Winker, Brandon Browning, Clinton Sneed, and Alan Burley are yet to come in. So the stage has been set now.
Yeah, now if you're those guys that stayed out, I mean, you kind of made your bed. You got to lay in it now. So you're hoping for that C word to come out, and if it does, then you just trapped half the field a lap down.
Yeah, and James Morgan in the 43 is up front now. He's got Kevin Winker about 8 tenths, almost 9 tenths behind him. And I'm curious to see when these guys are going to cycle because you want to stay as long as you can, but you don't want to stay more than I'd say 2 to 3 laps. And looks like
Yeah,
Winker's coming down now.
definitely. Now, if I'm James Morgan, I'm coming in this lap because there's no way I'm letting everybody else that just pit, even if I'm hoping for that caution. I At this point, if you stay out too much longer, you're just gonna give away that lead.
Yeah, you're talking a second and a half, 2 seconds. I would say a second and a half average faster on those four fresh tires, especially if you're in a draft with another truck that's pitted with you. And looks like Morgan is coming down now.
Yeah, I think that was absolutely the right call, and I believe Clinton Sneed will be our race leader now as it cycles back through.
Uh, I don't think Clinton has pit yet. I'm showing his last pit at lap 35, so I expect him to come down anytime now as well, because he'll be sitting at almost 40 laps on that set of tires.
Yeah, you're right. So Gabriel Ellison would then be our first car that has already made his pit stop.
Yeah, it's going to take a few minutes for this to cycle back around. But yeah, it's going to be Gabriel Ellison is going to be the first one as we sit right now that has come into pits. It looks like there's still, four trucks out that have not pit since lap 37 being the latest one.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't see the advantage of staying out this long if I'm Clinton Snead. I don't know. I got to get to pit road, I think, but could also be that he doesn't believe he's got the same speed as some of these other guys, so he needs to substitute with a little bit of strategy, I guess.
Well, you're looking at a 2-second difference right now between Gabriel Ellison's lap time and Clinton Snead's lap. A little bit over, well, about a second and 3/4 now, almost 2 seconds here. So that only takes you 30 seconds to get around this track. So you're losing time pretty quick here the longer you stay out.
For sure, but it's also about a 10 to 15 mile an hour difference, which in the trucks, if you're the faster car coming up on a slower car and you are moving 10 to 20 miles an hour faster than they are, you have to be on your feet and communicating with them, like ready to react, because if you both move to the same direction at the same time, that's when you see your caution. And I mean, that's what the 49 wants to see, but obviously he doesn't want to be involved in it.
Yeah, and right now, staying out like this, he's probably what he wants to see. He's got 11, almost 12-second gap right now over Garrett Delph, who's your second place driver. So curious to see when these guys bring it. I mean, we're looking, at 24 to go right now, and with the fuel, I figured around lap 80 to 83 will be the longest run, maybe 85 if you push it to almost fumes. But that's one thing you don't want to do here is run out of fuel.
Definitely not. And looking back at the number 27 at Gabriel Ellison, right behind him on his back bumper is the 51 of Bradley Wilson, who, he had a very good ARCA race earlier. So I think that he definitely is using some of that experience to translate into this truck race.
Yeah, and we saw him up front earlier in the run. Then he kind of drifted back, and he kind of been pushing his way back up towards the front. So I'm curious to see was he seeing how far back he could get and how much he could push that truck later in the run to try to make up time. And like we talked about earlier, I'm sure these guys have looked at their tires on that last stop to see where their tires were at in that run versus the first run. Is the temperature has probably come down a couple degrees, and they probably pushed the truck to a different level in both runs. Now knowing they're within 23 or 24 to go from when they pitted, how hard can I push it?
For sure. And if I'm the 51 right now, I'm just sitting back and cruising, like I said earlier, because you can use that draft. It's very, very dominant here, and you can use the draft to save your tires. But he's saying no more, and he's going to move to the inside of the 27.
Yeah, he's got to use that momentum, and it looked like he was kind of moving around behind the 27 and seeing where he was able to pull up and where he was losing a little bit. Looks like you're going to have a couple trucks here in front of him that are on older tires. They're slowing the run down. They're going to get back single file, and the 51 was able to get the pass there.
Man, that's them lap cars that I was talking about earlier. It can help your race if you're the guy that is behind someone and you're needing to catch up, because they can cause them to slow down a heck of a lot when they get double file like that. But that's also where Clinton Snead starts kind of grinning a little bit, because the difference in tires is also where you tend to see most of your cautions.
Yeah, and they were actually able to just get their lap back there from Clinton Sneed, so they're still, I mean, they're consistently making up time. And looking at the lap times right now, for example, Clinton ran a 32.94 last time by, and Brad Wilson ran a 31.62. So the gap difference between fresh tires and older tires, the pace that Clinton Sneed is running is falling off. So it's not quite as dominant now, but the thing is going to be fuel. I I
Yep.
don't think he's going to make it 65 laps unless maybe you think clutching, maybe.
If you, we just saw right there, his RPMs just dropped all the way down to about 1250, I believe, is the truck RPM at idle, and he's going into the corners, pushing that clutch in, letting the engine come all the way down, and trying to save as much fuel as he possibly can. But even with doing that, if you were clutching it, shutting the truck off, going into the corner, you are losing so much time to those guys behind you. There's only an 8 second gap, which seems like a lot, but with 30 lap difference on tires, that is really, I mean, that's not much. And we only have 16 to go. I think he's got to come in at some point.
Yeah, and I don't even want to imagine the math that he's calculating in his head right now with fuel, and then also thinking about, okay, well, how much time do I have all these guys? How much are they gaining per lap? How many laps do I have left? So, he's processing a lot of information right now and trying to make the best call strategy wise. Sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. This would definitely be an interesting turn in the race if he pulls this off.
Yeah, for sure. But I want to point out, oh, that he comes down pit road. I was gonna say the Gabriel Ellison in the 51. Excuse me, Gabriel Ellison in 27. Bradley Wilson in the 51 were gaining about a second a lap on him. So the risk versus reward there was not enough to stay out much longer.
Yeah, and as we say that, it's going to cycle back around to Gabriel Ellison, who's now fighting Bradley Wilson for the lead. But don't look now. Look who's sitting in third, and that's Landon Lacey has caught this group. And, he's not wasting any time here. He's got the momentum. He's ready to use it. He wants to get back out front in that clean air.
He's trying to freight train that 51 of Bradley Wilson, which is that's where like he used the 27 to get that gap formed and push the 51 up the track a little bit, and then now he's going to benefit from it possibly, but maybe not because 51 is going to get a huge run out of the corner.
It looks like I saw a truck a little slow there on the bottom. It looked like Clinton Sneed maybe coming out of the pits got a little loose there. He's able to gather back up. He's back out on track, but I thought I saw a little bit of in the grass there.
I tell you what, there is a huge bump coming out of the corner, out of the pit lane, and if you hit it wrong, I mean it'll screw your truck up. But we're looking at it now. I don't know. He seems like he gets off. Oh, just gets a little too happy with his feet and tries to give it a little too much gas coming out of the pits.
I've done that a million times myself, and I was expecting it to happen there, coming around the apron there. I've done that myself a couple of times. You get so used to running on those older tires, and you put fresh ones on there, and they're not quite up to temp yet. You catch some marbles, and next thing you know, you're spinning sideways.
As we just saw, the 25 of Landon Lacey almost get clear to move up in front of our leader Gabriel Ellison, but I mean he's sticking that bottom pretty well, and he should be able to clear him off of this turn. Nope, never mind.
Yeah, and think about this. Brad Wilson is sitting back there in third, watching these guys battle, and say, "Hey, keep this up for, another 3 or 4 laps. I'm gonna save my stuff here and see if I can work back by."
Yeah, exactly. And we're in 10 to go. No one's worried about fuel. They're all fueled up and ready to go to the end. So it's all about tires now. You're just waiting for someone to make a mistake or saving your own stuff in order to burn them up. But my question to you, Chef, is when do you start burning them up? Because I mean, we got 9 to go now. We're coming down to the line, and we talked about it earlier. Getting to someone and getting past them is two completely different stories.
It what makes it tougher right now is those three trucks are so close together. If I'm Wilson right now, I'm pushing it a little bit harder. You watch those guys run side by side a little bit, so you know their tires a little bit less. He could be sitting back right now on the edge of the draft and just gonna, I'd say maybe a lap or two, but I wouldn't wait past a lap or two to start working. You know, try to get that huge draft and get pulled up to these guys. He could be back there trying to find that line that's going to pull him up a little bit quicker. As a driver, I know you've done it. You've sat behind somebody, you know, change lanes a little bit, see what's there that you haven't seen before, and see if you can find something that pays off. But looks like they're able to gap him right now.
Yeah, I think I saw a little bit. He clipped the apron in the middle of 1 and 2, and I mean it created a huge gap for those two trucks up front. That's going to be kind of hard to come back from, I think.
Yeah, these trucks just a little bit too much wheel, or you get a little too close to that apron, and this truck just with the banking here, it's like the front end just comes down towards that apron, and the truck, you know, tries to go around, but fortunately this is one of those tracks you a little bit of right wheel correction and you'll be able to save it, but you're gonna lose a lot of momentum there.
Yeah, definitely. And we are in 6 to go. We see 27 at Gabriel Ellison trying that top line, like you said. I've done it a million times. Just start moving around back there and see what works. Get the 25 looking in his mirror and thinking, man, if he goes this way, what am I gonna do? And get him to kind of take his mind off of whatever's going on up there, because the more that he thinks about you, the more chance there is of him making a mental mistake. But if I'm the 25, man, I'm just trying not to look at that relative box and trying not to figure out what's happening and just running my race, racing the track rather than the cars.
Yeah, if you're the 25 right now, you got to keep your eyes focused forward past the hood pins. Don't worry about what's going on behind you. I mean, you're coming up on a looks like a lap truck in front of you. Just I'd be on the radio talking to this guy. Hey, which way you want to go? I'm gonna focus eyes forward because he's got to get to me first, and then he's got to find a way by me. When he gets to me, is when I'm gonna start worrying about that guy behind me. It's easier said than done, but as you can see, the 75 is going to go to the bottom and let these leaders get by on the high side. Let them battle it out here because they're going to be coming to 3 to go here at the line.
Yeah, definitely. We saw that 75 had heavy right side damage, so he's way off the pace. But it's good communication between all the drivers to get around him safely. And I mean, we see Landon with about a 5/10 gap, half second over Gabriel Ellison. But I don't know. That's something that can be pretty easily made up with 3 laps to go here.
Yeah, but I'm like you mentioned earlier. I think that clean air is helping that 25 truck. You know, on the long run, he's able to choose being the leader, the line he wants to run, because he's in control and he's found something that works for his tires, something that looks like it's working for his, you know, his forward momentum there, and he's just steadily looks like he's just steadily pulling away.
Yeah, as we started looking at him, I mean, he's now up to a 7/10 gap where he's just kind of steadily at that pace. And going into the corner, I noticed he's actually gaining about a tenth a lap. So, I mean, that's a pretty big difference. But we are coming to the white flag, and I mean, this race is pretty much Landon's as long as he can keep it clean.
Yeah, and then Sneed, who pitted a couple laps ago, is going to get by in there. Kind of close call there on the inside, but you know, just got to let that guy go, or just I'd hitch to his bumper right now and let the 49 pull me around and try to get a little bit more gap, because you know that 49 is a little faster on those fresh tires.
That's exactly what he's doing as he comes out of turn 4. Landon Lacey in the 25 truck is going to get the win at Charlotte.
Gabriel Ellison is going to pull home second, and the third podium finisher is going to be Bradley Wilson, who we talked about all night tonight too. So this was another very exciting race. I mean, we had one caution at lap 35 that kind of shook the pit strategy up, and but like you mentioned, that looked like that clean air played a good effect here tonight, Trevor.
Yeah, I think once he got out in that clean air, it seems like he just I don't know, something just changed in his truck, and he was able to keep that lead pretty steadily. And I mean, he had some competition from behind, but it was pretty much his race.
Yeah, the mile and a halfs are, some people can be pretty dominant at it, like we talked about earlier. They're always a tough track, and some of these, like these trucks, later in the run, these trucks get tight, and if you can't get it set right going in the corner, it's always harder driving it off.
Yeah, definitely, and he's gonna burn it down here. Definitely a well-deserved win. One of the things I want to point out is Timothy Latham, our points leader, actually finished the race 34 laps down, which that's gonna, I mean, that's gonna play a big factor in the point standings, don't you think?
Yeah, it will, and Landon, the winner tonight, Landon Lacey, must like mile and a halfs as well because he was able to pull up third place finish at Las Vegas. Looking at the results there too, so and looking at the other guys in here, we were talking about Kevin Winker earlier. He's able to bring in that fourth position. He was talking about that tire strategy earlier. I think it was a good call. I think it was just a little too late for him to make up that time. As we see the 25 and the 48 having a little fun here. We've both done this before.
Yeah, we've celebrated our first share of victories together, and that's always fun to get with your buddy and do a little burnout on the nose. But yeah, anyways, we are going to go to a commercial, and we will be right back with your top 3 interviews.
Let's face it, to build a new website or redesign your existing site, you have 2 options. You can start by learning HTML, CSS, JavaScript, SEO, SQL, CMS, well, you get the idea. Or you can be smarter and look for someone who is a professional in web design like Sneed Competition Design. We are experienced in building quality websites for our clients. We always start with strategy and planning to build a clear vision about what you need. Your website will then be passed on to the design and development phase, where we will ensure that you get a fully responsive design that is easy to use regardless of any device using the latest tools in web development. Contact us today, and let's talk about accelerating your business to the next level by creating a complete online solution.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us again. We'll get ready to go down in just a minute and start interviewing our top 3. Just a quick recap, Trevor. What did you think of the race tonight?
I mean, honestly, it was very clean racing. It was super entertaining as well, just like the ARCA race we saw earlier. Ended up being just kind of more of a tire strategy race, and who could undercut, and it ended up being Landon Lacey coming home with the W.
Speaking of Landon, let's go down to pit lane and let's start with that third place finisher. Bring in Brad Wilson here. We talked to him earlier tonight and interested to see what he says about this race. Hey, Brad, this is Michael up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, we talked to you earlier tonight, and here you are again with another podium finish here. So I got to ask you first off. First off, great job on the finish again here tonight in the Truck Series race. What was there any really difference between the trucks here tonight and what we saw earlier in the ARCA as far as the feel of the truck and the way that the track changed or the tire wear was tonight?
The ARCA car was a little loose with the beginning of the run, so definitely was different from when the trucks were tight the whole time and just continued to get worse. Where the ARCA cars, when they were tight, it felt equivalent to the truck kind of mid run. But we kind of persevered and just kept learning from each pit stop, trying to figure out what to do different until that last run where we finally figured something out.
So we saw you earlier in the race. You were up towards the front, and then you kind of cycled back a little bit to like the fifth place, that area. And was that kind of like a pit strategy thing before the caution came out? Because I was curious to see that caution came out at roughly lap 35, and I was curious what was everybody thinking coming into this race as far as a fuel run. What were your plans before that caution came out?
We were planning on just hopefully making it halfway and try to do one pit stop for the whole race, but that caution definitely threw a wrench into things. We had to try to figure something out. That kind of helped me out because I burnt my tires off after 10 laps there. So
Yeah, and that was the thing we were talking about, that it's probably thrown a wrench in it, and we knew everybody was thinking there after that you had to adjust because you knew you were going to have one more stop. And were you looking at your tires in between runs to see what were you changing your lines any or how much you were pushing to see how much you were saving, or was it just let's go get them?
I was definitely saving more than what I did the first run. Within 20 some laps, I already burned off more than half the tire. So I definitely had to do something different. And my teammate James Morgan told me just to trail brake a little bit, let up earlier. Even when you have the fresh tires, you'll lose a little bit at the beginning, but you'll be able to persevere at the end to try to get back up there.
Well, congratulations again on your third place finish tonight. You've been interviewed twice tonight, and always a good thing as a driver. We're going to give you the mic here again and let you give any shout outs, thank yous, anything you want to say here.
Thank you to my sponsors, Shenandoah Shine, Empire Jerky. Use code SHINE for a discount. White Knuckle Esports, CGE, Ractile Graphics, Full Throttle Battery, Garrett for bringing me a part of the team, James Morgan for teaching me how to drive a little bit there at that track. It's probably one of my worst ones because I just burned the tires off too quickly. And thank my dad for bringing me on and buying me a new PC for iRacing.
It's always a great thing to thank family, and it's good to talk to you again. And hopefully, we'll get a chance to talk to you again here next week. Once again, congratulations on your third place finish here tonight.
Thank you, sir.
Well, Trevor, that was Brad Wilson, the third. I'm not really surprised we interviewed him again here for after the ARCA race. After we saw what he did in the ARCA race. What were your feelings on his run tonight here?
He definitely had a clean run. I was curious if anybody from the ARCA race would be able to put forward that knowledge that they just gained. And like he said, I think he said that he doesn't really like this track, but he ran very, very good at it for not liking it. It was overall just a very clean race from him. Let's see if we can't get our second place finisher, Gabriel Ellison, here. Hey, Gabe, this is Trevor up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
How's it going, man? Congratulations on your second place finish there. That was a heck of a clean race. And just kind of walk me through what was your mindset when everybody started going for that pit stop, and what were you thinking?
Yeah, well, I couldn't keep Landon got by me right in the beginning of that restart, and once the tires wear off, you get about 10, 15 laps on them, it's really hard to pass. I mean, you pretty much got to get the top, and once I finally got to his bumper, he just kept blocking the top, and then James Morgan caught us, and I ended up losing another spot. So we were almost halfway. I was planning on pitting right on 70, right in the middle, and once I got past for third, I was like, I've killed my stuff. It's time to go. Maybe I'll short pit and jump him on track, and that worked. but me and Bradley started racing, and Landon was just tearing up. He was just ticking off laps like crazy. And as soon as me and Bradley started racing, I knew there was not very likely I was going to win there. So, great run to him. He nailed the pit stop and the pit strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. He made up some time on you guys, but I think it was just because you were side by side with Bradley there, and I mean, you guys are awesome racers, and I'm looking forward to see what's coming up. But what was your idea tires wise? Were you trying to save a little bit, or were you trying to burn them up and go get them, or what were you thinking?
Yeah, so that the first run beginning of the race, I was saving quite a bit because I gave up the lead right off the bat, and I just rode behind. I can't remember who was in the lead, but whoever it was burned him up, and I got it. And I just kind of I got a really nice gap before that first caution. And the second time around, I wanted to keep the lead, but as soon as I lost it, I knew I got to save, and I think it worked because I caught up back up to Landon. I just I just couldn't make the move on him. He was protecting the top. He was driving it pretty much perfect for the situation he was in. So at that point, it really didn't matter how much tire I saved. I don't think I was getting by him.
Yeah, for sure. Well, another thing is you were second place coming into this race in points. I believe you were 14 points behind our points leader, Timothy Latham, but we saw him have some trouble and he ended up 16th, I believe, 34 laps down. So
Yeah.
that's got to be a huge benefit to you and give you a heck of a lot of momentum going forward into Martinsville.
Yeah, that's a huge jump there. I'm not sure what happened to him. I think he's got something going on. Had some kind of issue or something because he pulled off the track and disconnected. So I know he was running midfield, I think. So hate that for him, but that'll give us a good jump in the points, and hopefully I can get a good finish at Martinsville.
Well, we hope to talk to you again there. But before I let you go and celebrate, is there anybody that you want to thank?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for coming out and racing with us. This is our fourth race, and last week car count was kind of low, but this week we brought it back, and I appreciate that. We had some guys in the league try to help get some market drivers to join us, and that ended up working out. So appreciate everybody helping out with that, and thanks to you guys for broadcasting, and then thanks to Shenandoah Shine for sponsoring the Pole Award, and Sneak Competition Design for the sponsoring the series.
All right. Well, thank you, Gabriel, and hopefully we'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, I mean, I think he was right. Like he just kind of burned him up with being side by side with Bradley, but I mean, overall a clean race for him.
Yeah, he had a great race tonight, and just looking at the results from Las Vegas, he was the winner at Las Vegas. So this is a guy you're gonna have to watch on the mile and a half the rest of the season for sure. It was a great finish for him, but the guy I'm really anxious to talk to is the winner tonight. Let's bring Landon Lacey down here. Let's catch him from his celebration for just a minute. Hey, Landon, this is Michael up in the booth. I'm going to pull you away from your win celebration there for a minute. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
So what a great race tonight you had. I was looking earlier. It seems like you got something going on for these mile and a halves there. If you will, can you just kind of walk us through, coming in this race what your mindset was, where you're thinking about pitting, and then when the caution came out, how much that changed your strategy up?
I came into the race, knowing tires were going to be big. Testing earlier in the week, I found out that tire fall off is about 2 seconds. 2 seconds, about halfway through the fuel run, you lose that amount of time from your fastest lap to the midway point of your run. And so I just came in here thinking about tires, and I kind of abused them there that first run. So thankfully that caution came out at a perfect time, and was able to pick up a spot on James on pit road to put us second. And then there on the restart, I was like, I need clean air. So I just tried as hard as I could to get past Gabe and got by him. And as soon as I did, I went into tire conservation mode. And then after that, I basically was just waiting for someone to pit, and finally Gabe hit pit road, and I'm like, okay, let me wait a couple laps. I waited about 3 because I raced with him earlier in the week and made the mistake of pitting too many laps after he did, and he ended up beating me for it. So I didn't wait as long this time. But from after the pit stop, it was I was still saving tires, even though I had the fresher tires, because I knew if I abused him trying to catch him, that I wouldn't be able to pass him. So I mean, it was just nothing but tire strategy all race long for me.
Yeah, and it was funny you talked about clean air. Trevor was talking about that earlier in the broadcast. We watched you, run at second place for a while, and then you made that move, and Trevor said, yeah, he probably wants that clean air, and I didn't realize how much of a factor the clean air would be here, as much as it was. And then later in that last run, it's like you just found something inside 5 to go, and you just started stretching that lead out. I mean, it shows you've got these mile and a halves figured out. So if you could look at the schedule, the rest of the schedule, what's one race you got circled here coming up?
I to be honest with you, I haven't really looked at the schedule. Let me look at it real quick.
You got Martinsville coming up next week. How do you think you're gonna fare there?
I'm pretty good at short tracks. I'm probably actually a little bit better than at short tracks than I am mile and a halves. Atlanta's going to be a rough one. It's kind of going to be like this racetrack, but Atlanta eats tires up more than Charlotte does. Talladega's anybody's game. And then we go to Michigan, and Michigan's, you kind of, to be honest, I was telling the guys earlier in the week, because, Gabe, Brandon Browning, Timothy Latham, we all race in SRN on Sunday nights. So we all basically just, even though we're not considerably teammates in this league, we still talk amongst each other. And I was telling him, you kind of have to run this racetrack how you run Michigan with the late apex, diving off in the corners. So Michigan will probably be another strong track for me because I'm pretty good at Auto Club as well. It kind of runs the same way. So we'll just have to see how everything falls and go from there.
Well, once again, congratulations on your win tonight. You're definitely showing you're going to be in there, and it looks like in the points there. And wish you best of luck. Next week at Martinsville, and hopefully we'll be talking to you up here in the booth again. I'm gonna give the mic one more time. Anybody special thanks, shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, even though we don't consider ourselves teammates in this league, I'd still like to thank, Gabriel Ellison, Timothy Latham, Brandon Browning, and basically everybody over at Filthy Five Motorsports. They get us prepped for these races and do a great job of it. So thanks to those guys for being some awesome teammates. And another thank you to Gabe and Clinton for putting on this league. I have a great time every week I race with these guys. I know this is y'all's first week with us, but thank you for broadcasting this week. Look forward to having more with y'all in the upcoming weeks. And other than that, thank you to everybody that's gotten me to this point.
Well, we're gonna let you go celebrate your win. Have a great weekend, and look forward to talking to you again, hopefully soon here.
Sir, thank you very much.
Well, Trevor, that was a great race here tonight. What did you think of Landon's? You called it earlier. You said clean air, and that's one of the first things he mentioned.
I did say it. I ran a couple of these C opens or C fixed races, which is basically what this was. It was just trucks fixed setup at Charlotte, and it seems like clean air was always a huge factor with that lead truck, and just being able to get that I don't know, something about it. Just the truck normally felt super tight when you're in a pack, and when you're out front like that, it just changes the way the truck feels for the better.
Well, we're going next week to Martinsville, so that's going to definitely change things up a bit. We're going from a mile and a half to a short track with different braking zones, and I'm looking forward to that to see who, like you said, he said he's pretty good. Landon said he's pretty good at short track, so I'm curious to see how that pans out next week. What are you thinking going into Martinsville, Trevor?
Martinsville is one of my favorite tracks, honestly. I don't know why, but there's something about it. It's kind of like a mini Talladega because anything can happen. And I mean, you could get wrecked out in an instant there, but it's also takes a lot of skill to be able to use that throttle pedal. And I mean, it's not just full throttle around the whole track. It's a lot of throttle control getting these trucks to get off the corner because they don't have as much weight in the rear over the rear tires like the Cup cars do.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well. Let's go take a look at these official race results here and see how everybody fared out tonight. Of course, Landon Lacey was our winner tonight. Gabriel Ellison was able to bring it home in second in the 27. Bradley Wilson finished third tonight in the number 51. Fourth place goes to Kevin Winker and the number 42. Fifth goes to Jeremy Little in the number 3. Sixth place goes to the 43 of James Morgan. Mitch Ellison will come home 7th in the number 55. Alan Bird will come home 8th in the number 14. John Peel will come home 9th in the number 7.
Clinton Sneed rounds out your top 10 in the number 49. Garrett Delph takes home 11th in the 13 truck. Number 5 of Joshua Abbey takes home 12th. Brandon Browning in the 48 comes home 13th. 14th was Brian Skidmore. Donnie Lyons in the 79 will take home 15th. 16th ended up being Timothy Latham, our points leader, in the number 5. And 17th was Alex Bonsinger in the 22.
Want to thank everybody again for watching tonight, the Thursday night throwdown doubleheader we had here tonight on Evolution Racing Network. If you like what you see, click the like or follow button, and you'll be alerted for every broadcast we've got coming up. And looking forward to this series and the rest of the season. So for Trevor Massetti, I'm Michael Sheffield. Have a great weekend. Look forward to seeing y'all next week.
With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.